Okay, okay. So last time I was having trouble with serializing this stuff, and I don't think that there's a good solution to serializing stuff here. So I think what I want to do is, for now, I probably want to put them in their own event. But I could also go ahead and put a group that's just like instead of having characters sent to this event, I could have a group uh, that checks a bunch of stuff, or that has a sorry, that has a bunch of stuff that could be updated. So it would be like a net updatable. Might actually do that. That sounds like the probably best solution at the moment. But then again, I would have to set variables in the things beforehand, and it's I don't like relying on variables to tell me what I'm working with. I might be able to uh, accomplish what I want if I were to do manual conversion myself. I don't know about that. Hold on, let me think for a bit. So the first thing is I could try serializing the stuff. The next option is I could just create a group that encompasses the three things. Uh, the third option is I could uh, plan for having another networking function that's just like a peak message or something like that. That'll give me the message without necessarily removing it from the queue, which might be helpful. But also, I could have another option which does include making another function, which is to in the DLL, that is, which is to have a receive message function, but with another operator. That is, if I were to say like receive message, but only messages that have a certain value in a certain position, then I could filter out what I want to receive. I guess another option would just be to find a way to store messages. So that way I could just have multiple C++ code events to get those or to process those messages. You know what? Why don't I do that? I'm going to call this a post office because it holds messages. Okay. If I don't end up using this, then I suppose, well, at least I tried. If and def, because we want to make sure we don't get two definitions at once. Define that, and then that way, uh, this is what is known as an include guard, which prevents multiple declarations of something. So you won't get like two declarations of the same function by including like post office twice in some source code, or including post office somewhere and then including a thing that includes post office right below it or something like that. For people who are better at programming than me, they already know what this is. In any case, so I think what I'll have is void store message star. Uh, we'll get message char star plus actually I'm gonna have this overloaded if I remember correctly. That's the term where I specify additional things. So then we have get message char star, get message char star with unit 16 t for a position and unit 8 for a values test. I'm gonna label it. And the Boolean return is to say whether or not there was, or that the character, character, the character return is that is weird. Why is character spelled with an H, but then it's not even used? Unless I'm just unless I've just been pranked for my entire life and told that that's how you pronounce it. But I'm pretty sure that's not how you pronounce it. Why is it like that? Ooh, I could also have I guess this might not quite be correct to call a post office, but uh, sometimes you get names that don't exactly make sense. So, actually, one thing I should do, just because it will be a problem if I compile, is to include cint types, because that's what I use. I like cint types. They're very standard lengths of ints. Hold on, did I networking.h or networking.c++? Okay, so I just said include networking.h. Seems to work. Right, so I gotta define a set of functions. First, to store an unID'd uh, thing. I also should probably define a type, though it would be used really internally, so I don't think this is something to put in post office.h. So okay, so what I want to do is I want to have the car there. Then I want to have the unit 16 ID. This way, I have an ID to match to when I use these functions. Though I should probably have a bool for things that don't have an ID. Uh, this should never actually return them. This I this function right here, get message with just the character buffer as an input or a reference to character buffer, uh, should just get whatever message. It shouldn't care about whether or not it has an ID or not. I'm gonna should uh should initialize that because otherwise it could give me very wonky results. There we go. If I remember correctly, that's how you write the constructor. Okay, so we then store a message which has an which has a buffer, so want to make first we need to define things. Make this a little bit more post office theme, so I'm going to call it a mailroom. Despite the fact that that was completely unnecessary. The pushback, let me search this up. Push underscore back. Okay, let's see. This, standard vector pushback with an underscore. Uh, yeah, okay. But first, we actually have to create a message, and we need to create a message on the heap. We can't create it on the stack, which means that we have to that we would have to have a pointer on the stack, which points to the heap. Look at me with my computer terminology. So I think the star has to go after. So, there. This right here, new message creates this object and calls its constructor. Uh, puts it in, putting it on the heap, which doesn't get deallocated when you return from a function. Static functions or static stuff might not. I don't know how static stuff works, but apparently it just works. Actually, I think right now I could push back M, though I need a underscore there, and then I could modify its value since I'm pushing back a pointer, and multiple things can work on a pointer. I mean, multiple things can work on a variable that isn't a pointer, but you can also have multiple things work on a pointer, and it's easy with just one thread. Kind of. It's kind of easy with just one thread. It depends on how you understand multiple things working on something. Okay, you know what? Just forget my entire statement. It's probably just a bad statement. Right, in any case, for unit 16 t I equals 0, I is less than 500, I plus plus. We want the following things to happen. We want to set msj of m at I to buffer at I. We want to copy the contents of buffer to MSG of message. You know what? There we go. So now it will copy everything over and nothing else needs to be done. So we're good there. But we have more store message definitions. Okay. Okay, so let's double check this. Use ID is the thing down here. That's set to true, which should signal to this that the ID there is indeed valid. And if something gives an ID of 0 to it, to return. All right, then get message char buffer should get any message. I'm going to hold on. Is there a pop back? Delete last element. Okay, it does not actually return the thing that it pops off. I thought I saw like a function that like gets the value at the back and returns it. Oh no, maybe I'm misremembering. What else is here? Back returns a reference to the last element in the vector, unlike member vector end, which returns the iterator just past this element. This function returns a direct reference. Calling this function on an empty container causes undefined behavior. Okay, so we got to check its size. It's been a while since I've written my networking library, so of course I've forgotten everything related to the vectors that I have indeed used in. Well, I suppose that's how it goes. Okay, so if without caps lock, mailroom dot size is greater than 0, then I don't have the vector crunch utility that I have in the library, because that would come in handy for getting from the front of the vector. I guess I'll just do it in the way of the stack, which is to get the last element and remove it. So, right. Else return false if there's not anything there. So, uh, first we need to actually iterate through the, or we, actually this one doesn't have any iteration, so we can just get the thing. We can get the back element. So mail room dot back content I buffer I equals content I or uint 16 t I equals 0. is less than 500, I plus plus do the following. This should get the latest element and uh, grab all of its content. Then, uh, actually, there's one thing I want to do. If buffer is null, pointer just because I want to double uh, or make doubly sure that I don't like crash anything. I want to get an access violation. I'm gonna paste these here real quick. Right. Okay, so then pop back if I remember correctly. Pop back. But there is something that I need to do. So after I get the message, I need to delete the reference at the uh back of the array, just so that way I don't pollute. I don't have a memory leak, so I don't pollute the memory with irrelevant information that's no longer being used. You see, that's how you write bad software. Is you just drop things off the face of the earth without actually releasing the memory that they're attached to. So the system couldn't use that memory anymore. Okay, so the thing is right, pop back. All right. Okay, so then I want to return true. Okay, so we can't quite just do the same thing here because we actually need to test something. So if actually, I'm going to do one more thing here. Or if I'm going to return false, just so that way I don't have to deal with any value that's greater than 500. Actually, it needs to be a number between 499 or 0 and 499. Uh, this is going to be fun because this no longer follows the convention of the stack, since it has to get a specific message, not just uh, the message at the back. Which, I mean, I guess I could just go ahead and then pick a random message here. I'm gonna have to write that vector punch utility again. So, actually, let's what we want. What we want here. But instead, we want mailroom at. Okay, so vector punch. What did I do? It was because I wanted to make vector punch able to be used on anything, because it was used at least on three things. I'm going to write it with the same idea in mind. So uh, void vector crunch. How do you write templates again? C plus C plus template. Okay. So T, then But I need a reference to the vector. So then we want to okay. So then we what I want to do is I want to have or be size and uh, actually it would be oh, okay. Okay. Give me a second. So what I need to do is I need to go ahead and check the pointer of a position. If that pointer or sorry, I need to check a pointer of an incrementing position. No. Hold on. Let me just think this one through. So what I need to do is go from the beginning of the array to the beginning of the vector, which I guess holds an array, but that's not important. Okay, it is important, but I'm going to try to let myself think this through without getting caught up in semantics. I need to go from the beginning of the vector to the end of the vector with two uh, indexes. Their first index will increment through the vector. The other index will go ahead and increment conditionally. And I think I had it right the first time. Though this part is also correct. So if this is equal to null pointer, then if this is not equal to null pointer, then we want to go ahead and take from and put it in 2. So then we set the array from to null pointer, or the pointer at the index from in the vector that we have been passed to null pointer. Then we increment 2. If v at 2 else we want to increment null pointer. I can't help but feel like I'm getting this wrong somehow. Okay. Oh, I didn't actually unpause that. I was gonna pause it. Okay, so going through a hypothetical vector in my head. So let's say this vector has like 10 things in it. And we want to go ahead, it's a vector of booleans, and we want to go ahead and move all of the true booleans to the front and have all of the false booleans at the back, which is just an automatic for booleans in this case. Basically, we want to have all the true booleans at the front and all the other booleans we don't care about. We're going to get rid of them. Okay, maybe that was a bit different from a simplification of what I just said, but that's what I'm going to go with because that's more accurate to what this is trying to do. So the thing that I was thinking about is if 2 points to something, but for I was thinking like, would there be any situation where there would be a gap between things? So let's see, either because okay, I guess incrementing based off of if you know what, you know what, I could probably solve this. If v at 2 equals null or is not equal to null pointer. There. Wait, hold on, hold on. So Trump gets caught up on the first thing whilst 2 goes ahead. Okay, yeah, no, so it can't. Assuming execution is running normally, because I was thinking, well, what if there's an empty spot and then something in it, and then 2 tries to grab something from somewhere else and puts it into that empty spot? Actually, hold on. I'm going back and forth on this. So, I guess that would be a possibility because from could have a, or you could have something at 2, nothing at from, and then have, well, then both of them would increment. Okay, okay, hold on. Maybe I'd feel better if I went through uh all right. I'm gonna work through this because I keep worrying about, okay, what if gaps appear in the vector, and if I don't do this, I'm going to explode. So we want all the A's to be at the front and we want to delete all B's. I'm gonna make this a little bit more tiny. Okay. So we want all the A's at the front. To and from are both pointing to the first element. It's an A. They both increment. Pointing to another A, both increment. The first B, so from increments. Then we have an A. We move we move this kind of like this. So now they both increment. Then we have 0, 1, 2, 3 is a B, but 4 is also a B. So 5, and B's are just representative of not filled values. Okay, so 0, 1, 2, 3. 3 is now set to something. At position 6, which is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, is now an A. You know what? I'm convinced that this will work. Because I don't think gaps will form. I'm going to tell myself that a bunch of times. Because otherwise, I'm going to go back to this like I'll go back to the fridge at night, thinking, okay, I didn't close the fridge, only to find that I indeed have closed the fridge. That is something that happens all too common. It's just like, did I close the thing? And I have to go all the way back downstairs and be like, okay, yes, I closed the thing. Now, I'm going to even further show myself that I closed it, and I'm going to walk back upstairs. And sometimes it happens again. I'm just like, but did I really close the thing? I'm just like, okay, so this should work. That's good to know. That's good to think, I suppose. I don't know about the this up here. I'm not entirely sure if I'm using a template correctly. But I'm just going to leave it and hopefully it works itself out. And I am going to unpause this timer that's been unpaused for way too long. Okay. So now we want, especially because there's going to be like one value that is wrong at a time. Right. Also, at the end of this, I'm gonna double check the size. So if v size is greater than 0, then because we want to actually delete the end, we want to crunch it down to the minimum size. Particularly, we want to be able to get an array of unknown gaps and fill them all in, and then delete all of the remaining space. We want the smallest vector, which I mean technically won't actually shrink, uh, just due to the fact that it's got a built-in array. But I want to make sure that it's not leading to weird uh, situations where there's multiple gaps in the thing. Okay, so then take uh, the or if or while uh, the just double checking here. Okay. Uh, let's see. That is the right thing, correct? Yeah, it seems like it's the right thing. Hmm. Makes sense. save these two things just in case something happens. This should then be complete. Uh, then I need to actually I need to pass a reference, so I need to do that. If I remember correctly, that's the correct thing to do. Alright, I gotta do something similar here. I think that's actually all I have to change is just the check right here. I'm not entirely sure if I'm going to use the IDs, but I like to have them handy just in case I want to use them later. I think that might just be it for everything I need to do here. Okay. Uh, I'm going to do a thing. Wait, hold on. Well, does this have a automatic get out if this is taking too long feature, or did I neglect to do that? I think I just straight up didn't do that. All right. Well, hmm. I'm going to keep this code here just because I want to have it ready for moving over. Particularly just kind of this stuff, not necessarily the switch statement. Right, so then I want to, if its header is valid, then I want to also check its footer. If that passes, then I want to. What is the thing? Store message. Do I? I see. Probably didn't define it here. Okay, I did define it here. That's good to know. Right, let's go back to this. Unqualified ID before token. Wait, what? Hold on, am I getting this incorrect? Perhaps I just don't know what I'm doing, so I'm going to look up a little bit. That's what I thought. Why is this acting so weird? Do I need to put a semicolon on this? Because the example I'm looking at didn't have it. Let's try this. Expected a unqualified ID before token. And how am I getting this incorrect? Is this just not an unqualified ID? You know what? We're calling it a letter then. Let's see if that fixes anything. If it does, I'm not going to be too happy, but at least it will be fixed. Did I get rid of that error? Might. But it gives me so many other errors. Alright. Hold up. Let's open this up here. Okay, error. Message does not name a type. On line 13, well, that shouldn't be a problem. Okay. Expected unqualified ID before opening bracket. What am I supposed to do? I'm trying. You know what? I'm changing this back. Okay, hold on. Is it a simple matter of like something not being capitalized? That's not capitalized, so this should follow suit. Nothing in that is uh, capitalized except for the name of the uh, thing, which this is also capitalized. So yeah, this matches capitalization with that, so it's not like an error with capitalization. Right, so let me look back at the error. 136 1 expected a end bracket. Man, am I missing an end bracket somewhere? Hold up. Let me uh see this in a what that does. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, give me a moment. This doesn't give a closey thing. So I'm half certain that it's correct. Hold up. I'm gonna save this, close out of it. No, save this. Currently it's 136, which is suppose it would be right about here. I'm gonna set this up side by side. Let's see. We'll look at this one as well. I even have the semicolon at the end. But why isn't it working? Is it because I hmm, did I botch up the constructor or something? This looks all right. I see. Probably wasn't looking at what line it was on. 1311. Okay, I was thinking it was this one. Which I mean, I guess I shouldn't have made that assumption. Okay, I got a bunch of other errors, but you know what? Oh, that was the only instance. Okay, I'm getting thousands of errors now. You know what? I'm gonna fix this at a different point in time. If you are watching the stream, thank you. If you're watching later on YouTube, thank you. It's gonna be it for me today. So until I see you again, this is goodbye.